What's up, everyone? Just getting everything set up. Perfect. Got the little background going. Got my ring lights. Lighting is important, everyone. Ugh. I have like the worst light stand here. Okay, perfect. SailPoint versus Okta. They're both, I would say they're both pretty comparable. It's gonna really depend on like the specific offer. So I'm assuming they're giving you like the same position for both. Let's see if we get the Pokemon cards in the background too. Maybe we'll end up talking about those later. How did I end up in tech sales? Great question. So I get this one a lot. Kind of talking about my background. So I studied biomedical engineering, and I originally wanted to go to medical school. That's what I thought for the longest time. And then decided senior year, as I was applying, doing MCATs and everything, that it wasn't really for me anymore. I worked as a certified nursing assistant. Didn't really like what I was seeing in the healthcare industry. So that's when I started off in like tech support, moved to Austin, Texas. And then I wasn't considering sales at all. And then I shadowed some people on the sales team, and I was really impressed with what I saw there. I saw like it wasn't what I imagined sales to be. So B2B sales is very different. Yeah, I was a CNA. Changed diapers, did all that. I only did it for like 4 months before I quit. It's a hard job, and I was getting paid only like $10 an hour. But I saw how burned out all the staff was. But yeah, it's tough. I have a lot of respect for people in the medicine industry. You have to be really strong mentally, not just like physically. It's mentally draining. I don't know how people do it for so long. You get like numb to it, and that's what I really saw. I worked in a nursing home, and I saw like it was like terrible. You'd have patients that had. I still remember to this day, there's one patient who had, he had a bed sore. So a bed sore, for people that don't know, when you're in a nursing home, sometimes you're immobile. You can't move around. There were so many like overweight patients because they just had terrible diets. And one of them, he was like 400 pounds, and he was neglected because some of like the longtime CNAs or whatever, or nurses, they just, didn't really care anymore. They were just so burned out. And this poor guy, he had literally a bed sore like this big. It was like big enough that you could fit your fist in, just because he wasn't getting rotated every 4 to 6 hours like he was supposed to. And it was like, oh man, like that type of stuff. Like I just couldn't deal with it. I saw like there's another patient I still remember too. I was working with one of my good friends, and he yelled for me to come over because one of his like geriatric patients literally pulled out his catheter, from his whatever. I don't know when I get banned from TikTok Live, but he pulled it out. There's blood everywhere. But yeah, it was nasty. But anyway, yeah, hard job. So that's how I ended up getting in. I didn't have any connections in the industry. Both my parents are Polish immigrants. They didn't have any college backgrounds. I went to state schools. I had really no idea in terms of like how to navigate the tech field. I kind of like fell into it myself. What's the difference in pay between an account executive and account manager? So at the bigger companies, the pay is pretty much based on your level. It's fairly similar, at least at both Google and Amazon. The base commission split is pretty much the same between the two. I will say you probably have a higher chance of like exceeding quota as an account executive. That means you're selling into new business as opposed to managing existing accounts. How do you move into tech sales, and what are the examples? Yeah, so I have a playlist. It's pretty in depth, or I mean, it's in depth enough that you can get in without having to do a course or anything. But In essence, really what you're going to be doing is you need to work on your resume and LinkedIn. Super important. You don't need a college degree or anything like that or anything specific, but you're going to work on your resume and your LinkedIn, and you want to quantify your experiences as much as possible. So make it as objective as you can. So use numbers, use statistics, and then you're going to look for sales development representative, business development representative positions on LinkedIn or places like RepView. They also have job postings. But you're not just going to apply. You're going to go ahead and get referrals. And the way that you're going to get referrals is you're going to utilize LinkedIn, and you're going to look for sales reps and sales managers at these companies who have some sort of similar trait with you. Maybe they went to the same school, similar background. You have to do a little bit of work here. This is kind of like the sales work. This is like your first sales job. You're selling yourself, and you're gonna try to keep it fairly casual for the first few messages. Don't ask for the referral right away, and then you're gonna get the referral. The referral is very key, especially for the first job. There's a lot of people that are applying for these entry-level roles, and then you have the interview process. So I'm actually working on like a 5-week free course with partnering with Bravado. So I've been recording a lot of content for that, and I go through that like in a lot more detail there. Allison, thanks for hopping on. Thanks for sharing. Allison's one of the early subscribers for TechSalesTom. So if you guys want to subscribe, you click on my name, and you can subscribe just for a month, or you can do it for longer. But occasionally I'm going to be doing subscriber only live. So if you'll only be able to comment and ask questions if you're a subscriber. So it kind of gives you more one-on-one access. As you can see here, you get a ton of questions. And then I'm going to be doing other perks too. I don't know if you guys saw my grass flip-flops, but I'm actually working to get a bunch of those custom ordered. And I'm going to probably, for like the first 100 subscribers, I think I'm going to ship you a free pair of those. Like it'll be like tech sales flip-flops, kind of like the meme that I'm working on is like, people tell you like go touch grass if you haven't been out for too long. So it'll be something like that, but keep an eye out. There'll be other perks too. Am I in Austin? I'm in Chicago right now, so that's the Chicago skyline. I live downtown. Total Bub, thanks for hopping on. Another subscriber. When does the course start? So we're finishing editing. It should be, I think you can sign up right now. It's free, but it should be fully launched, I think, in about 3 or 4 weeks. Not in Austin right now. I have property in Austin though, and I'm actually finishing up a new construction out there. Favorite Pokemon card behind me? I would say the favorite one behind me. So I've been collecting the whole base set. This is the first set. It's kind of from my childhood. My favorite one is not really worth anything. It's the Charizard. So it's my favorite one because this is actually the one that me and my sister actually had. And what's funny is you'll notice it's graded as a 1. So this is from PSA. PSA grades these cards. So you mail it in. They have their experts. They look at it with their magnifying glasses, and they grade them on a scale from 1 to 10. And I actually remember as a kid, I like trimmed the corners a little bit because they were showing a little bit of white. So I guess, I don't know, maybe I wanted it to be a little bit more perfect. I don't know. I was probably like 10 years old or whatever at the time. But then because of that, they automatically returned it as a 1, which is, unfortunate, but it's more sentimental than anything. If it was like a 9 or a 10, it would be worth, this one I think would be worth like $500. But that one's my favorite just because of the story behind it. What do you think about this recession affecting near future hiring? Yeah, so definitely. So, if we do enter like a real recession, companies will go into a hiring freeze, right? Some companies already have done that. They'll hold off on hiring new people, or if you're currently interviewing, they might even stop the interview process, or they might rescind your offer. So if you are looking to switch positions, now is the time to do it before the hiring freezes actually happen. Because once they do, it depends on how long the recessions could be. We had a fairly short COVID recession. It was about a year. But if we, who knows? The next recession could be 4 or 5 years. It kind of really depends on the politics of everything and how things, fall apart. Feel free to add me on LinkedIn. for anyone that's following or whatever. LinkedIn is in my description. Favorite leadership principle? Mine is dive deep, mainly I think because it kind of goes with my ADHD like tendencies, where I get super obsessive about different hobbies. So within AWS, they have different leadership principles. These are principles that Jeff Bezos kind of bestowed his wisdom onto the rest of the company, right? You can look up what they are when you interview at Amazon or AWS. A lot of times they're looking for examples of how you demonstrate these leadership principles. It's a little cultish or whatever, but it's kind of like the culture there. So for me, I definitely dive deep. So they encourage you to kind of like dig in, understand like why things are being done a certain way, ask a lot of questions. On the sales side, it's important. You kind of like dig in, understand why customers are doing things a certain way. Thoughts on pre-IPO companies? Yeah, pre-IPO. So I would say if you're early on in your sales career, probably not. I mean, you have to be careful because some pre-IPO early stage startups, they don't have a lot of training enablement resources. So if you're just starting, that's actually what you're looking for. But if you have experience, it's great. Potentially a lot of upside. If you want to maximize your upside, join a Series A or Series B startup funded by a Tier 1 venture capital firm. And I can go into a lot more detail there. Do you plan on working in tech sales forever? You was at $350K for 5 years, sick of the politics. Probably not. Probably not. I do, I've been doing a lot of entrepreneur type stuff, real estate, angel investing, obviously the social media stuff. I love content creation. I've actually been getting a couple gigs and requests from other companies to record like professional content for them. So that's been a fun journey. I think I could definitely see myself doing more of that. And then myself also have a couple business plans I've been working on for different startups that I might launch. So yeah, I don't think I'll stay in the corporate world forever. I also like to travel a lot and value my free time a lot too. Have I hit OTE yet? No. So I mean within cloud, right? You have like a yearly quota, so you don't really hit your OTE until you hit your yearly quota. But last year I hit it around October. So this year I'm kind of like, I think I'm tracking on track for like 105% or something like that. Been going at it since last November, not able to break in. So if you haven't been able to break in since last November, you're gonna need to look at your resume, look at your LinkedIn. You might want to invest in a resume editing service. I have one linked in my bio. I've used Mary Southern at Resume Assassin twice. She's great. She's actually done a lot of like tech sales profiles and stuff. Also, I'd be curious to know if you're actually getting referrals, if you're using referrals. How do you feel about sales enablement SaaS companies? Think about the next move. Yeah, definitely. So sales enablement, super important. Like sales teams they're juggling more than ever. So anything that you can do to make the sales reps more productive, that's great. Just got an info interview with Amazon, AWS next week. Congrats, man. Good luck. The first interview is going to be with the hiring manager. They're basically going to like do a quick run through on your background, make sure that you're still a good fit, make sure that you know what the role that you're applying for, make sure it's what you're looking for. Small SMB, yeah. SMB is small and medium business. Mitch, thanks for subscribing. So I think I mentioned it earlier, subscribers, I'm going to be doing some special perks for you guys. I think for the first 100, I'm going to be doing tech sales grass flip-flops. So keep an eye out there. Also going to be doing, I think, like graded Pokemon card giveaways. I'm going to do those once a month. I'm still ironing out the details, but we'll definitely make it worth your while. So yeah, thanks for that. Yeah, it's new. TikTok just rolled out this subscriber program, which I think is pretty interesting. It's definitely the hardest. Super excited that you got that. AWS has been hiring a lot of dumb people recently. So it's funny that you say that, but this is just in general with like any big company. Even like Google. Google has this issue too, I guess, right? Where when you're really small, you can be really deliberate and really difficult with the interview process if you want to get like the super high top talent, right? Google was notorious for having like brain teaser type interview questions that were super difficult. And then over time, they have to balance the needs of having really difficult interviews and then also meeting their hiring goals, right? Because they're growing very fast. So they need to expand their headcount and they need to bring on X number of people and so on. So because of that, the hiring bar does decrease as the company that's bigger. So definitely happens. What's my salary? Yeah, so I'm just at about 200K base, and then it's about 100K commission, and then with like the stock valuation kind of moving around, it's about 75K a year in stock. That's like my on target. And then last year made just over 500 with accelerators. And I've done like an in-depth breakdown. I've shown like the W-2 or whatever. I'm all about like pay transparency. How would you approach recruiters or current SDRs regarding referrals and opening conversation? Yeah, so literally you would hit them up on LinkedIn, right? But the thing is, you have to remember, so if you're especially looking at like big companies, recruiters are usually focused on very specific roles and even for very specific territories. So sometimes you might reach out to a recruiter, let's say at Google, and they're totally not the right recruiter that you need to talk to. So I wouldn't actually recommend reaching out to the recruiters. Yeah, you could reach out to the SDRs for sure. SDRs, I think, are going to probably be the most responsive. They're active on LinkedIn quite a bit, doing prospecting. And then, just be upfront and friendly and say, hey, this is my background. I've been doing more research about tech sales. I saw that you recently started. Would love to get some time to hear about your experience and what you think about the SDR role so far. Oh, I see the Mona Lisa thing changed. This is kind of weird. It's like the default effect. A little awkward. Let me change that. Let me change that. I don't want to get banned. I don't know why they use that as the default green screen, but anyway. Thoughts on 6 Sense? Yeah, 6 Sense is fine. Yeah, they have pretty good ratings on RepView. In general, when you're looking at different companies, you can look on RepView. Should rookie SaaS SDRs be worried about the recession? Only if you're like in the bottom 40%. They're never going to hire or let go the entire sales team. So you do need to be aware of like where you stack rank against the team. I will say though, I don't know if they usually, it's hard to say where they do their layoffs, but it depends on the company and the size of the sales organization. What do I sell when I refer to the cloud? Yeah, so all the cloud services. So I work at Amazon Web Services right now. My title is Global Account Manager. Who owns RepView and why should it be trusted? So RepView is run by Darren and Ryan. Ryan is the founder. He's been doing it for I think like 3 or 4 years right now. So he has a ton of like sales experience. He actually used to work at G2. So they're like kind of another aggregator for reviews for software. And the reason why it's all user reported data, but they vet the data too, and they only show like recent data. So of course people could lie, but they have there's checks in place. So obviously if you put in a number that's like way out of range for what would be typical for that role, that obviously gets flagged there. You notice there's no ratings for SE. So they don't have that right now. I've been asking them about that. They said they're going to be adding it relatively soon. It's on the pipeline. But there's other roles within tech sales that would be great to see the compensation data. But in general, if you're looking at RepView and you're wondering like what the sales engineers get paid, the OTE is going to be fairly similar based on the level, but you'll have a higher base. I would say the base will be about 20 to 30% higher than what it would be on the sales side, but then the commission is going to be about like half, if not less. Is a 20% layoff considered big? Company's 200 people. I would say that's pretty big, pretty big layoff. Love the vids. Thanks, Jackson. Yeah, there's lots of questions. Sorry, I'll try to get to them all. And again, like if you guys want me to really prioritize your questions, and I also do subscriber only lives. This just started. You can click on my name at the top, and then do the little sub thing, and I'm going to be doing additional giveaways for the subs. So for the first 100 subs, I'm going to do TechSalesTom flip-flops, grass flip-flops. Elation, yeah, actually, you know, I was interviewing at or Elation was reached out to me for a position. Didn't end up going through with it at the end, but super solid company. Product seems great market fit. So you don't sell new business, you work on accounts that are repurchased. Yeah, so I do. So it's both. So at the cloud companies, they don't really separate out account managers and account executives. It's all the same. And the reason being is once you get a company onto the cloud, they're not going all in on the cloud all at once. You know, there's, especially at the big companies, right? You know, you have to think about they could have a lot of different subsidiaries, a lot of different business units, divisions, and there's also different, you know, areas within the business to sell the cloud. So there's an aspect of managing the existing spend or whatever, but for the most part, you know, you also have like technical account managers and solutions architects that manage that existing account. The sales reps are pretty much focused on expanding the account and selling into new areas that aren't using the cloud yet. Man without any fear, thanks for the sub. Thanks for the sub. Yeah, appreciate it. Yeah, I'm gonna put out. I'm gonna do some TikTok. I was actually just talking with a supplier for the flip flops and doing some designing, but I'm gonna do a story, and I'll do a story highlight. I'm still figuring out Instagram. I'll do a story highlight, so it'll have the details of like the sub benefits and so on. So yeah, I'm excited for it. If you do not see this, we're hiring for a BDR role. Yeah, there's still a lot of hiring for BDRs. Are CCATs and personality tests common when applying? You know, they're actually not. I don't think I've had a single personality test at any of the companies, and I've interviewed. I've done probably, I don't know, 50, actually maybe, I don't know, yeah, 50 interviews that I've gone through. Because I'll still interview even when I'm at companies just to keep my interview skills fresh, and then also to see what companies are paying. Can black people be successful in tech sales? Absolutely. Yeah, definitely. I would say there's more. You could actually Google specifically. They put out their diversity and inclusion reports, and there's actually more African American representation in the non-engineering roles, including sales, as opposed to the engineer side, which is mostly white and Asian. That's where a lot of the representation is. So I think it was like a 2 or 3x more on the sales side. So yeah, definitely. What SaaS tech sales podcast do I like? You know, I don't, on my time, I don't even have enough time to listen to any podcasts anymore, but I did guest speak on like, I think 4 of them. I'm going to do a post on it maybe tomorrow or the next day. And I'm going to basically put in little shout outs for those different podcasts that I was on. How long from mid-market AE to enterprise AE in big tech? You know, it depends on your performance, but typically, you know, about 2 years or so is kind of the timeline to go from like SMB to mid-market to enterprise. That's usually what the cycle is. So like at, you know, Google or Amazon, you know, you're doing performance reviews either once a year or twice a year, and they usually want to see 2 performance ratings above exceeds in a row, showing that you're performing at the higher level. You can help with video editing for some advice. Oh man, that's awesome. Actually, I would be interested in that. I have like a bunch of like my lives that I post up. So it would be great to actually, I've been thinking about like cutting down some of those lives. Oh, and then it looks like it changed the effect again. Let me change it back. The awkward Mona Lisa. Okay. What about LGBTQ in tech sales? Can you talk about how LGBTQ would fit into bro culture? Yeah, honestly, you know, bro culture, I don't think it really exists in tech anymore, or even sales. Like, I haven't seen it at any of the companies that I've been at. I've been at small startups. I've been at, you know, obviously Amazon, one of the biggest, or the biggest, and then Google as well. They're all like, you know, they're all pretty inclusive. Yeah, it's huge. Like everyone talks about it. I would say you'll definitely be, you know, very welcome. I haven't seen anything like that. So, and like, you know, they actually take it very seriously, where, you know, if there's any like bigotry or anything like that. I mean, there's no tolerance for it, even on the customer side, right? If a customer says something weird or whatever, or super offensive, I've seen it where the company, your company, like if the customer, on the customer side, if they do something weird or whatever there, they'll actually get it reported, and I've seen customers get fired for that type of stuff. So what does bro culture even mean? Yeah, so I think when people think about bro culture, they probably think about like college frats and like people making like crude jokes or whatever. That's usually what they kind of like think about. But yeah, I haven't it's not really prominent anymore. I think it used to be. I think so. Sales itself in general, or even corporate, corporate used to be kind of like a good old boys club where you like needed to have like connections from your dad or whatever to get in. And I think finance might still be a bit like that, like investment banking, but tech's pretty inclusive. Lexi, I haven't seen one of my lives for a while. Yeah, I've been doing random lives throughout the day, and then I think there's maybe 2 or 3 weeks where I didn't do the Wednesday live. So this one was rescheduled from yesterday. Yesterday, my Tesla got T-boned, and I had to get the car towed. Went to the hospital because I had like pretty bad neck pain. Got that checked out, and didn't get back until like 10 or whatever yesterday. So fun stuff. You have a CS degree but enjoy sales, just afraid of quota or low base salary. Any advice? So, I mean, you'll be surprised. The base salary can be pretty high. So especially as you move up in enterprise, for example, base salary can be 150K upwards of 200K. And obviously, it's not gonna be as high as like, if you're like a senior or principal engineer, your base salary, could be 250 or 300K at the big tech companies. But, do I get paid by RepView? Yeah, so yeah, RepView is a sponsor. So I do call that out, and then I'm actually also an investor and a shareholder in RepView. But they're super solid. Tom, is the SC position more secure than 8 role? Yeah, if your territory doesn't hit quota or whatever, they're gonna put the blame on the AE. The AE is gonna have the pressure, not the SE. So for sure, yeah. Base salary is not 100K as a SDR BDR. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, as a SDR BDR, it's not gonna be 100K. As a SDR, your base salary might go up to, I think the highest I've seen for an SDR was like 70 or 75K. Taken 3 CCAT, 1 proctored with personality tests. That's crazy. 3 of them. Which companies? I'd be curious to know which companies those are at. Please tell me, is cold calling a thing of the past? Yeah, so you're usually not really cold calling. You're doing a lot of like warm calling. So you're reaching out to companies who they either downloaded a white paper, attended a webinar, you've got some sort of indication of interest. You're also very targeted. So usually when you think about cold calling, it's like, okay, they're just gonna call every number in the phone book, right? I mean, usually it's pretty targeted. And also, you're not just calling, you're doing like a lot of LinkedIn messages, emailing. Is the 500K strictly sales? Yeah, that was just sales. I think the total, I did a breakdown, it was like 780 or whatever for the year. Speaking of quota, what happens when people get pipped? So what happens when you get pipped? They have a couple articles on it. So if you don't perform well, you go on the performance improvement plan. They basically give you an option like, hey, you can improve, or you take severance. And severance would be like, I don't know, like 2 months pay or whatever. And then you work on this plan, show improvement, and if you don't show improvement, then you can either take severance or you can appeal. I think Business Insider has an article on what that process looks like, but that's essentially what that happens. But majority of people, I don't think, make it through PIP when you go on the performance improvement plan. But it's like one of the jokes or whatever for the name is like it's like a paid interview process or whatever. So you have like 2 months or whatever. It's usually best practice and recommended to use that time to start interviewing at other companies, and then by the time you get that 2 months, then ideally you already have a position lined up. Should you go from gold and silver sales to tech? I would say tech is probably a bit more secure. Does money make you happy? I wouldn't say money itself makes me happy, but the things that it affords me, which is security. Security is like pretty important for me. I grew up, fairly poor. Both my parents were Polish immigrants who moved to the U.S. with no English skills, money, or degrees or anything. So, I like the security that it gives me, and then the other thing that also affords me is time and freedom too. So, but then I also like there's certain hobbies that I have that are also just expensive in nature. But I try to like do it in a way where it doesn't actually cost me money. Like cars and motorcycles, I'll like go for a good deal, or I'll do fixer uppers, and then even though let's say I'm spending like $70K on a car, I end up like making 10 grand on it when I sell it. So first generation American, yeah, yep. I was born in Chicago, but both my parents were born in Poland. How do you feel about tech sales boot camps? So yeah, there's a lot of them out there. So they're either free or they do an income share agreement, meaning you pay a portion of your salary after you get it, or they're paid. They pay up front or whatever. So some of them are okay. It depends, because a lot of it is like based on the quality of the mentor that you get. So some of the programs, I've heard that from the students that they didn't get any support from the mentor or anything like that. So I mean, I would actually try the free route. So you can use my playlist. My playlist has pretty much everything that you need to get in. Obviously, you're going to need to put in the work yourself. And then, but the boot camps can be great, if you need a little bit more help. But yeah, do I know Tech Sales Gal? Yeah, we're connected. I haven't done any collabs or anything, but do I plan on staying in Chicago long term? Probably not. So moved back from Austin about 2 years ago, and then still have property out there, and finishing up 2 others. They're supposed to be done in the next month or 2. So that would probably be the next place. Bro, you just don't see me smile a lot. That's why I was curious. Yeah, it's I think mostly if you see me on like the earlier lives, like earlier in the day, there's definitely like more energy. But for me, like it's 9:00 here in Chicago, so the end of the day. But no, generally enjoy it. I mean, I also have I don't post about it a lot, but I keep it separate. But I have I'll show you guys. I have so I'm currently married, for people that don't know, and then I have two great kids, so they're super fun. I have a 4-year-old and then a 1-year-old, and that also explains the tattoo. So I'm 100% Polish, so that's the Polish eagle, and this is the Philippines rising star, because my kids are half Filipino. So there's that little blurb. So that's where I get more. Obviously, I think that's when they say money doesn't buy happiness, which is very true, right? It gives you other things, but fulfillment in life in general, I think, comes from multiple areas, not just one single area. Like you can have a great family, but if you have financial struggles, always stressing about bills, that's gonna cause issues. That's gonna definitely prevent you from being super happy. Yep. Yeah. So actually, so me and my wife were high school sweethearts. You go way back. How's the stress? It's not bad. It's not bad. So it depends on your performance. If you're performing well, the stress is great. But if you start having some bad quarters, it can get pretty stressful. Have I ever been put on PIP in my sales career? I actually have. So, this was actually probably before the sales role. This was when I was an application engineer. I remember I had a really tough manager, and I just didn't vibe well with her. And then I got put on a performance improvement plan, but I exceeded the goals, and I got past it. And I ended up, that's when I moved into sales actually. and then killed it. Got promoted in 8 months, which was the fastest that I think that they had ever done in that role as an SDR into the inside sales rep. How old was I when I first cracked 100K total comp? That would be like when I moved from my first job, first corporate job. So I guess that was, so I started that in 2014, 2016. So I think I was 25 when I did. Do I smoke or drink to cope with stress? No. The way that I cope with stress actually is exercise. So I do a lot of cardio. I used to do a lot of weightlifting. I haven't done it in a little bit there. But for me, that's the big one for sure. If I fall off the bandwagon with my exercise, I think the stress level rises for me. Spoon, thanks for the hand hearts. Thanks for the hand hearts. Appreciate it. Is it true you get fired quickly if you don't make goal? It depends. If you're at like a small startup, like I remember the first startup that I was at, they fired one of the sales reps after just 3 months. That was like super fast. That was like, I think the fastest I've ever seen anyone get fired. If you're at a big company, it's generally a longer process. It would be pretty hard to get fired within the first year. And then it would be pretty hard to get fired within, for just not hitting goal for 1 quarter. So the bigger the company in general, you're gonna have more leeway. But for the fast growing startups, they have very aggressive goals. They're gonna cut the fat, especially the smaller ones, sooner. Any financial worries while in those stressful quarters? Earlier in my career, yes, when I didn't have as many like passive income streams. I remember when we bought our first house, that was when I was 27. So bought the first house in Austin. It was $550,000 and only did 3.5% down, but I pretty much used most of my savings because all the rest was in retirement. I didn't want to sell 401k. And it was a relatively high payment at the time. Was renting a 2-bedroom before for $1,500, and the new payment was $3,500 or $3,600, plus property taxes and whatever. And I ended up moving from the cybersecurity startup to Google. And I remember specifically, like basically my base salary basically just covered the bare essentials, which was like the mortgage and utilities and stuff. And then, I'd be kind of like waiting for the quarterly commission to like pay it off. So yeah, I would say in the beginning it was definitely more stressful, but now it's not that big of a deal. Nowadays I just look at the bonus or the commission as like an extra perk. I don't need to rely on it. Are these sales roles mostly remote? The entry level ones, they're kind of split between remote and in person, but the senior level ones are mostly remote. How much free time do I have? I would say a good amount. I mean, I rarely have to actually work on like the main job after 5. Sometimes I will, and then I fill up the rest of my time with family time, and then TikTok, and then some of the other side ventures. Top passive incomes. The top I would say is real estate, right? So one of my recommendations I tell most people is you should try to buy a primary residence as soon as you can. You don't need to wait for the full 20%. Do 3.5%, 5% just to get it in, so that way you can start building equity. And then if you end up relocating, you turn it into a rental property. I'm not a fan of selling real estate. I'm a fan of like keeping it. So that's what I would recommend, because you're always going to need somewhere to live. So it's one of those investments where at least you lock in your housing payment and everything, and then historically it pays off. Where do I currently work? So work for Amazon Web Services, and then I have my own like consulting gig as well. Daily routine. I did one of those day in the life videos. Whenever I did that with Huel, that was a fun one. But generally, actually end up waking up at like 7 o'clock or whatever. Kind of depends on when my daughter wakes up. Spend time with her in the morning, and then I do Huel with espresso. I'll catch up on emails. I try to do that like kind of like first thing, get them out. Usually a bunch of emails in the morning. Catch up on those. Then I'll have internal meetings, external meetings. I'll have emails I need to follow up on related to like the brand sponsorships that I'm working on, and the consulting. I try to wrap up by 5:30. Sometimes it's a little bit longer. And then lately I've been doing a lot of roller skating. So I'll roller skate, for like hour and a half. I've got like, jogging stroller or whatever, and then I got my boom box on there. It's a whole setup, but it's a blast. I'll do like 15, 20 miles, burn like 1,400 calories, and then then it's dinner, family time, and then I might spend a little bit of time working on the other content stuff, and then for weekends is like all family time for the most part. So sweet to hear about your family. You're helping a lot of people share your knowledge. Yeah, happy to help. Yeah, for sure. I didn't have any mentors going into it. I kind of fell into it, so that's why I enjoy doing this. Actually, with like my friend group when I was younger, I was always kind of known for like knowing a bunch of things about random fields or whatever, random topics. So I really enjoy kind of like sharing this and kind of like being a resource. Real estate is a lot of responsibility. It is, yeah. So it depends though. Honestly, it's been pretty hands off for me. If you buy like a 1940s home or whatever, yeah, it's gonna be a lot of work. El Palestino, thanks for the rose. How did you make 500K when your OT is 100? Yeah, hit accelerators. Yeah, my accelerators they're like 8x. So I hit like 130. It was like 132%. Do you know any companies that offer new SDRs a base salary of 70 at least? I mean, you'd be surprised. A lot of them actually do. Take a look at RepView. You can sort by, you can view top tech sales organizations for SDRs, and you'll see those, but it depends on your level. And you'll want to get competing offers if you want to get like those top offers too. Best way to get to the level where I'm at. So the best way is you want to get, you'll get in as a sales development representative, business development representative. You want to get into a top tech company. So use RepView. Generally I would say go to look at companies that have a RepView score of at least of 88 or so. These are companies that have great sales organizations, great training and mentorship, great product market fit, top of market pay. And then really, once you just get into one of those, all you need to do is exceed your targets. You don't need to exceed it by a lot. The bar isn't that high. You just need to do like maybe 110% of your goal, and that's enough to like be on the fast promotion track. There's a lot more to it, but in essence, that's kind of where it goes. Tom, can you talk about non-competes in tech sales? Yeah, so non-competes are one of those things where they generally don't even really enforce them unless like you're super high level director or something like that. But if you do have a non-compete, what you can always do is make sure you don't tell the company, your current company, which company you're going to when you put in your notice, because they might block your job, or whatever. And then you also might want to avoid even updating your LinkedIn for several months. That's why sometimes you'll see people do that, is because of a non-compete. How do I enable my sales guys? Perks versus pay and culture, hands off. Yeah, in general, you have to think about it. People, I think in general, like more freedom, right? So no one likes being like monitored super closely or micromanaged. So, have a good amount of flexibility there. What that means is when you look at like KPIs and so on, like try to make them like fairly flexible, and then also create an environment where you can get feedback from your SDRs and from your sales reps, and use their feedback to maybe modify the KPIs and so on. So that could be a good way to kind of give people more control and help them feel more included. Then for pay versus perks, obviously pay is important. You want to make sure that your pay is competitive. You could use sites like RepView to see like what competitors are paying. So that's going to be very important. And then, but for perks, yeah, one of the things I think perks are great because me personally, if I get like an extra $500 bonus or whatever for like a different sales incentive, it's great, but honestly, it's not going to change too much. I have no problem with spending money. As you guys can probably tell, I don't like being frugal, but I know people that are. So for them, I know like if they would get the $500, they just wouldn't spend it at all, and it would just like sit in their bank account, right? And accumulate or whatever. So if you do things where maybe you give, the incentive, you could be like, you could do like a gift card, or like, have them pick a specific item. So you're kind of like forcing them to spend it, and you might find people to be more receptive to that. Subscribers only. Yeah, so this one's open. I'm still gonna be doing open lives, but I will be doing subscriber only lives. Those are great because usually, I mean, at this point, it's about 20 subscribers, so you'll be able to ask a lot of questions, a lot of follow-up questions. Tom, what's my LinkedIn? It's in my description, so all my links are in there. So click on my name. You can choose to also subscribe if you want, and then I have my LinkedIn, Instagram, YouTube, all those things there. Do you think sending sales guys on all expensive paid vacations tacky or old school? I don't think it's tacky. You know, I think people still like those for sure, like President's Club or whatever. I think that's great, because the other great thing with that too is you also need to like make it a good networking opportunity. So the reason why a lot of people like President's Club or whatever is because they get to spend time with like the sales leaders or other executives there, so to get some great face time. So yeah, for sure. But also I think with the President's Club, it's also, I think it's important to make it, you know, give them a +1 as well. So that way it's not just like another sales trip or whatever. It should be mostly, if it's gonna be something like that, it really should be mostly a vacation. Obviously, it's probably good to spend like a half day or whatever, kind of like, you know, doing recognition and team activities, but then like keep it open. And then you gotta make sure it's a cool place too. You know, what's a good starting BDR salary? 60 to 90K OTE is a pretty good starting salary. Tom, when can we expect the TikTok in my investment portfolio? I might record it tomorrow, maybe. So, oh, dang it, it does it again. Let me change it back. This is the default. I don't have Mona Lisa saved on my phone. But I'll show you. Actually, yeah, so these are the grass flip-flops, guys, that I'm going to be doing. These are going to be subscriber only exclusives, right? So I'm customizing them. I'm working with a supplier from Alibaba to do these flip-flops. But anyway, that's one of the many perks that the Tech Sales Elite get. The other perks you get when you subscribe is a little fancy badge in the chat, so people know that you're special. And then you can also send emotes, and then I'll also prioritize any of your questions and any of your requests for content. What's your advice for women getting into tech sales? Yeah, I mean, tech sales, lots of female representation. I've had several managers and directors that were female. They were great. So I would say it's, you know, that perspective is very well respected. So advice would be referrals. Referrals in general, my advice for people getting into tech sales is referrals. And I mean, you could certainly tap into other female sales reps. You know, that could be a great way. I think that's a great icebreaker when you're networking on LinkedIn to try to get that referral. How long did it take for me to ramp in my current role? It was about like 6 months. You know, there's a little bit of a ramp. A big thing when you join like these big companies is, you know, not only are you learning the technology, but you're learning about like the internal politics and the processes and everything. That takes, you know, a good amount of time. How difficult would it be for you to get a job in tech sales? You have a finance degree. You know, it's not super hard. I have the process listed out. You can look at my Get Into Tech Sales playlist. I have it all there. So check that out. Do you need a referral from tech sales? Yeah, you don't need one specifically from the sales team. Usually it's like anyone from the company is good. But having a referral from the hiring manager is going to carry some weight for sure. Thoughts on leaving voicemails? Yeah, if you call and they don't pick up, you should absolutely be leaving voicemails for sure. Don't just call and hang up. You know, leave a voicemail. Closing tips. Great closing tip is, one of my favorites is when you're managing calls, call management is like a skill in itself, and managing meetings. So when you're ending a meeting, one of the big tips I would say is try to set the next meeting on the meeting that you're at. You already have the customer on the phone or on Zoom or whatever. make sure you save like the last 5 minutes to have them commit to the next meeting, right? That's a great tip, because sometimes a lot of sales reps, they'll say like, okay, this is a great meeting, I captured these items, I'll follow up and we'll schedule the next thing. And then what happens a lot of times is the customer gets busy, or they don't respond to your email and their calendar fills up, and then you don't have the next call until like 2 weeks later, and then you lose the momentum. So I think that's a good tip there. How's the referral work? Do they just put in a word for you? Yeah, the referral is, they just put in, usually there's an internal form that you fill out. So when I was at Google and at Amazon, you basically just, you click on, they usually have an internal job board, and then you click on the job, and then you click on the refer button, and then you upload the resume of the candidate. So usually you need a specific job posting in the resume. Good questions, everyone. What's the day-to-day in the role? Yeah, so I went through that. I'm going to post this recorded live. I post all of them. Actually, take that back. I think I still have to post like the last 4 or something, but I post them on YouTube. That'll be posted there. What would it take for you to leave Amazon? Is mostly based on your revenue ceiling. Yeah, I mean, it's a couple things, right? Anytime you leave a company, it's not just about pay. It's also about career progression. It's about your interest in the role, in the company, in the technology, career prospects. There's a variety of different factors, right? It could be even location, work-life balance, and so on. So, but pay is obviously important. So it'd be pretty hard for me to take a position that would pay less. GCP or AWS. So I've worked at both, or work at both, or whatever. I would say, AWS definitely has the more, better features, or more features, better uptime. I mean, there's a bunch of detailed breakdowns. Money Bank Money, thanks for subscribing. Another subscriber, amazing. So long list of perks for the subscribers. I'll be adding more, including giveaways. So I was just talking about it. I'm gonna be working with a supplier to get a custom pair of grass flip-flops. So for those of you that really need to touch grass and you want to show off kind of like your tech sales prowess, then I'm going to be, for the first 100 subscribers, I'm going to ship you a free pair of customized grass flip-flops. So those will be coming. I'll post more about it. I'm super excited for it. What's the collection binding? These are Pokemon cards. These are PSA graded Pokemon cards from the 1999 base set. So I think I have like 70% of them, including, so I have like, for example, I have like all of like the holo cards. So you've got Alakazam, Blastoise, Chansey, Charizard, all that. It was a little childhood hobby. So I feel like so much more than just tech sales. You might have to change my name. Maybe, it's funny. My name, it used to be Tom's Tesla Garage, because I started a car YouTube channel, and you can still see the content there. And then I got a lot of questions about tech sales, so I started posting about tech sales and switched that. But yeah, I mean, I might eventually just change my name, overall to my full name or whatever. I might end up doing that. We'll see. But yeah, there's definitely a lot of things I love talking about. Love talking about cars, real estate, investments, general career advice, even family advice or whatever. Biggest deal I closed. Biggest deal, 9 figures, very big. How long I've been in the tech industry? Coming on, 8 years. It flies. Time flies. Next car after the Tesla. Probably another one. So for the ones that didn't see, my Model X got smashed, T-boned. It might get totaled, we'll see. But I have Model X Plaid ready for pickup. So that'll probably be the next one. Next, like supercar or whatever. I think after I sell the kit car, I would like to do a Ferrari FF or a GTC 4 Lusso. Tell me about how to enforce primary keys in Redshift. I'll direct you to the sales engineer or TAM for that one. Total Sales Tom. Yeah. It could be a different thing. But what's funny is actually with my name, I've had a lot of people, they didn't realize it was TechSalesTom. They thought it was TechSalesTom or whatever. So maybe it wasn't the best thing for me to pick, but yeah, GTC 4 Lusso, the value, I feel like it's such an awesome car, and the fully loaded ones were like 400K, and the prices are going down. I did see one, I should have bought it. It was like, it had 45 or 50,000 miles on it, and it was 170K, which is still a lot. But on these like exotic cars, you can do like 10-year loans and with like balloon payments. And if you buy them at the right time, and I think this is a good time for them, they'll appreciate and you'll actually make money on them. So it won't cost you anything. How much were these cars? These, I think in total, I think that this set was like 2,500 or $3,000. I gotta go through with it. They're not like super, a lot of them aren't super expensive. I think like the most expensive one I have in there is like $400 or something. But because I'm trying to do the full base set, which has 102 cards, I'm not trying to do like PSA 10s on all of them, because that would be like, I don't know, like a $60,000 collection. I just want to have the whole collection. Thoughts on the GTR? Love mine. Yeah, GTR is great. Big fan of like twin turbo, all-wheel drive. Actually, I used to have a Subaru WRX STI hatchback in a 2013. I bought it brand new. It was like the last of the hatchback. And then I also had a Ford Raptor with the twin turbo V6, pretty similar to the GTR engine, and that was a fun car. Next hot market in tech, data warehouse sales. Maybe. I don't know about data warehouse sales if that would be next hot market, but I think climate tech is going to be pretty big. F12 would be cooler. Yeah, F12 would be cool, but I like the practicality of the GTC 4 Lusso. You've got 4 seats. You can actually put car seats in the back, so I think that's pretty cool. That's why I have the Model X, because it's just more practical. Have two little kids, or whatever. So here's my little boy. This was a photo that I took because I was using my, if I have like $10,000 in photography and video equipment now, so I figured I might as well use it for kids stuff. So there's my daughter too. So that's why I have that's one of the considerations for a lot of my hobbies. I used to do a lot of motorcycle riding and had a lot of other sports cars, but you can't, a lot of those things, like, you can't necessarily bring your kids along with. So that's why I've kind of modified my hobbies to be like as inclusive as I can. That's why, like, when I do my exercising, I do a lot of rollerblading, and I'll bring the jogging stroller with the that way I can bring the 2 kids there. So RS7, yeah, RS7, I like that one. That's the hatchback one. I always like that car. I think even the older ones, they still look great. Other sports cars that I've had. So I've had C6 Corvette. Yeah, I've had the Subaru STI. What other ones did I have? A Honda Civic Si. Although that I don't know if you would really classify that as like a sports car. And then yeah, so then I've had like the Tesla Model S, Hyundai Genesis Coupe. I mean, I'm starting to like lose track of them now. I've had a couple Jeeps, other cars there. But then I've had a lot of motorcycles. I've had like 12 different motorcycles, both Harleys and sport bikes. My favorite one was the BMW S1000RR. Had it fully tuned, about 200 horsepower. It was a beast of it was straight piped, no cats. It would literally shoot flames from the exhaust. Yeah, and I've done track days and everything. Yeah, no Nissans. Actually, I haven't owned any Nissans, no. I did think about actually that's why I thought about the GTR. Like about 6 months ago, I feel like the values are pretty cheap. I was seeing a lot of GTRs in Chicago for like 50K, but I'm a little hesitant because I know those engines are expensive to work on. And I know a lot of people probably they buy them and they buy just like a Cobb tuner for $600. They tune it up and they don't build out the rest of the engine, and who knows how much they've been abused. So actual car guy, yeah, I mean, if you've seen the other car that I have, literally it's like a race car for the street. So it's like 1,900 pounds, no ABS, traction control, ABS or whatever, cruise control, heat, AC, has a Ford Coyote V8, 440 horsepower at the wheels, had several manual cars. Yeah, I'm a big car guy, but I also like Teslas too. So it's all about balance, right? I got one car that gets 12 miles to the gallon, and then I've got the electric car, so it balances out, right? Yeah, 2015. Oh, dude, if you sold it, at 10K, that's definitely smart. Definitely smart. Tech sales in Los Angeles, yeah. Did I get a chance to see my question? I might have missed it, Lexi, if you want to post it again. That's the thing, I get quite a few questions, so sometimes it doesn't pop up. Did I receive any rebates when I purchased my Tesla? So this one I didn't. I've had 5 Teslas, this is my 5th one. I've had a Model 3 or Model S first. I bought a used Model S because I was trying to figure out if I actually liked it or not. I bought it for like $28,000 or whatever. I got a Model 3 Performance. That one I did get the rebate on. It was like half of the federal rebate. And then I did a Model Y Performance, and then a Model X, and then another Model X. So only the Model 3 I got the rebate. Thoughts on sales engineering Palo Alto? Yeah, Palo Alto is great. Yeah. They're investing a lot in the cloud. You see so many people buy expensive cars and don't know much about more affordable sports cars. Yeah, I'm a fan of all of them. So the other one I really liked, actually, I had a 1990 NA Mazda Miata, did a bunch of autocrossing and stuff with it. Condo living with kids tough. It depends. The condo's it's basically 3-bedroom, and then we have a ton of amenities, a pool and everything. So I think it's like 1,500 square feet. So it's a little smaller because the house that we have in Austin was like 2,400 square feet plus with like the living, we had an unfinished walkout basement. But it's not too bad. I think also the youngest is just about 1, so his room is basically just like the crib or whatever. But we go out a lot. So how much are the condo fees? So this place actually currently renting, but I have a couple places under contract right now. One of the places that I have under contract, the condo fees are $1,000 a month. The other one is $450. But this one, what I'm paying for rent, because I switched to month, it's like $6,400 a month, and that's including 2 parking spots. So I have kids. Yes, I have 2. I just don't talk about them a lot, or don't talk about like the family stuff a lot, because I kind of try to keep it separate. But these were some of the pictures I recently took of them. So I've been using my photography equipment to do more of them. And then my wife kind of got me these little acrylic thingies of some of the pictures that I've kind of taken and stuff. So and that explains this thing. So this tattoo. So it's the Polish eagle, because I'm 100% Polish. Wife is 100% Filipina. So then the kids are half. So kind of blurred those 2 there. Am I close to the wife's side of the family? Yes, yeah, actually very close. Mostly, because we both went to the same high school, college. We actually even went to the same middle school, but we didn't start dating until senior year of high school. So very close together, because we always lived close together, for sure. So yeah, hang out with them quite a lot. That's why we moved back to Chicago, actually, was because we had the second one on the way. I wanted to be closer to parents, even though we loved Austin. So that's the plan, maybe for the next year or so, and then we'll kind of evaluate from there. But it's been interesting, yeah, because obviously very different cultural backgrounds, but both actually immigrant backgrounds, so it ends up actually kind of working out, or that's kind of the common trait. Your dream is to live in Dubai and work remotely. I've heard good things about Dubai, yeah. And then I think you don't pay any income tax, I guess, in Dubai too. One area I would look at, actually, I was actually reading about this. Puerto Rico, apparently, if you buy a house in Puerto Rico, you don't pay. I think you only pay 3% tax, capital gains, on any investments, and the corporate tax rate, or maybe it's the corporate tax rate is almost 0. So that's why you've been seeing a lot of influencers and stuff, people that have remote work. They're buying places in Puerto Rico, and you only have to live there half the year or whatever. You live there half the year. You don't have to give up your U.S. citizenship and you don't have to pay like literally zero taxes. So amazing. And the property taxes are like frozen. If you try to do that in Dubai, you actually have to give up your US citizenship. Otherwise, the US government is still gonna ask you to pay taxes. So Puerto Rico, I think, is one of the only places that has that. And they put that tax exemption in there after the hurricane or earthquake. Zero federal, yeah, federal. And they don't have a state tax either. So yeah, you can look it up. They're trying to close it because locals are getting upset because property values are going crazy because people are buying. So TikTok drops the green screen for some reason sometimes. But yeah, no, their locals are getting upset because they can't take advantage of those tax breaks. They still have to pay, normal taxes. But then people like these rich people are coming in, they're buying houses, and they're overpaying because it's significant savings for them. I'll probably do a video on it. I think that'd be kind of cool. What company do I work for? Amazon Web Services. Which one of the courses do I recommend for someone that's an account manager for an SDR role? So do you mean like you're trying to get an SDR role? So if you're trying to like just get in, I think one of the courses I would definitely recommend is the one that I'm working on, which is free. You can sign up for the wait list in the bio. We should be launching it in about 3 or 4 weeks. Just still doing some editing. There's self-paced lecture content. Got comedic skits. Corporate Bros on there. Oh man, it's dropping off again. Corporate Bros on there. And so check it out. I'm partnering with Bravado on that. You can sign up. There's still openings. What's more lucrative, cybersecurity, cloud, SaaS, or something else? So I would say they're all equally lucrative. It depends on the company, really, for sure. Depends on the company. It depends on the territory that you get, how supportive your manager is. But awesome questions, guys. I gotta wrap it up. We already went over a little bit. If you have any more questions, feel free to message me. If you really want me to prioritize your questions, subscribe, click on my name. I'm going to be doing other special subscriber benefits, including for the first 100 subscribers. I think we're at like 25 right now. For the first 100, I'm working on a supplier. I'm working with a supplier in China, and I'm getting custom grass flip-flops. So you might have seen my grass flip-flops in a few different videos, but I'm getting these customized specifically for TechSalesTom. So it's going to be I'm not going to make it really tacky with the logo. I'm going to do like a little TST on these. I'm going to be doing black and blue camo straps. And then on the bottom, I'm going to do a little, TechSalesTom logo. And it's just going to say like, go touch some grass or go touch grass. Kind of like a little play on that thing. But for the first 100, I'm going to send out a pair of those, for free. I'm getting some pretty good pricing on that. So check that out if you're interested. And there's other things too. I'm also going to do. I've been doing. I tested it out. I did a couple. So for subscribers, what you can do with lives is you can do it so only subscribers can comment. So as you can see here, I get a ton of questions. Sometimes it's hard for me to get through all of them. So with those, I did a couple lives where only subscribers can comment, and it's great because then you can get more one-on-one time. You can do a lot more follow-up questions. We can go into a lot more detail, and then I don't have to like kind of talk at like 1,000,000 miles per hour to kind of keep up with everything. And then also, you can still hop on video if you want to be a guest and talk through your questions. So I've been doing some like one-on-one coaching, and I charge for that, reflective of my time. But I prefer like more of these like group environments because a lot of people ask like the same type of questions, and I feel like it's a lot more scalable that way. Subscribe with the charge, yeah. So I think it's the same price. You don't set the creators don't set the price. It's like $5 a month or whatever. So click on my name in the corner. You should see it. There should be in like the left corner, top left corner, little whatever diamond, and then you can choose. I think it's like 1 month, or you can do auto subscribe. So I subscribe to a few other creators to check it out or whatever. You'll get a little badge next to your name, so I can very easily see who the subscribers are. You get custom emoticons or whatever. I'll be adding more too, and then I'm also going to prioritize your requests for new videos and questions and everything like that. So I think TikTok told me that they're gonna be adding even more features for the community. So yeah, super cool. Super excited for that. So yeah, definitely gonna be doing more there. If you haven't noticed, I focus most of my time on TikTok. I have the Discord, and I feel bad. I haven't done a lot on it the past 3 or 4 months because I mean, running a Discord community itself it can be a lot of work. So I'll be doing more stuff too. You don't see the subscribe option when you click on it. So it might be US only. That might be it. So if you don't see it, or you might not have like payment enabled on your account, but yeah, you would click on it in the corner, or they maybe just didn't roll it out on your account yet. But we have like about 20, I think it's 25. Let me see. Yeah, about 25 subscribers. Oh yeah. And then what's this on my arm? So great question. So this is Polish Eagle, and then the Philippines Rising Star. So that's the tattoo. And I was gonna be doing a full sleeve. I was like kind of like working on some other things there, but I don't know. I'm 500 messages that built up because I kind of did a little bit of a social media break. That's why the content kind of slowed down. So I still have to catch up, but if you subscribe, I will definitely absolutely respond to any message that I say on here. So that's the big perk. But yeah, thanks everyone. Have a great night, and then look out. I'll post this recording on YouTube if there was any part that you missed, and then I'll be doing the next big one. I do the big ones on Wednesday at 9 p.m. This one got shifted because of the car accident. I was in the hospital, so I had to move that to today. But thanks again, everyone. Talk to you later.